In our first reading at Mass this week, we've been following the book of the prophet Samuel, and we've seen him from his call as a young boy. Speak, Lord, your servant is listening. And now today we see that he has grown up, he's performing his mission as a prophet, and the people of Israel, God's chosen people, have asked Samuel to appoint a king for them. Now, on the surface, that might not sound so bad. They're becoming a more important nation, and so they should have a leader. Problem with this is that from the time that God first chose his people and set them apart, well, God was to be their king. He would do the things that kings would do: protect his people, provide for them, lead them, help them in battles, even, as God proved he would do over and over. But the people want a king. And Samuel's very distressed about this. And we have this very personal first person response from God who says, no, it's not you they're rejecting, Samuel. They are rejecting me as their king. How sad is that? To realize that in asking for an earthly king, God himself, in human language, granted, sounds sad. They're rejecting me as their king. Well, what is it that the people want in a king? Well, Samuel warns them that, well, if you have a king, he's going to be corrupt like every other leader in the history of the world. He's going to take your sons and put them in his armies, his daughters to serve at his palaces. He's going to tax you, take your money, all these things that we hate about politics. Well, Samuel says that's what's going to happen if you get a king. They're like, no, you're wrong. It's not going to happen. And then perhaps one of the saddest lines ever: no, we too must have a king so that we can be like other nations. Wow. That is one of the most insulting things that God's people ever could have said to him, and shows just how ignorant they are of the special call that they have. They are chosen by God precisely to be set apart from other nations. Their whole mission in life is to not be like other nations. They are to be God's chosen people. They are to act in such a way that other people, the other nations, will come to them. That's the whole meaning of Epiphany. As I said yesterday, these are the days after Epiphany. Well, if your whole mission is to manifest God to the world, I can't think of a worse way to fail at that than to say, no, we actually want to be like the world. Well, lest we cast all the blame on the Israelites at the time of Samuel, this is exactly what we are doing in abandon today. Look at how much we look at our world and say, well, the world is messed up, becoming less and less Christian. It doesn't act in morally upright ways. Our politics are corrupt. Name whatever you want that's broken in the world. Why is it like that? Because at every step, Christians are surrendering and saying, it's too hard to go against the world. We really just want to be like everybody else. Now, that was certainly not the case in America when Catholics first came to this country. We knew that we were different, but we wanted to get a seat at the table. Well, the problem is now we've got it. Now Catholics not only fit in America, we fit in so well that you can't even distinguish Catholics from anybody else. You look at abortion, contraception, divorce, name it, Catholics look like everybody else. And that is an utter failure of our mission. Like Israel of old, we are chosen to be set apart. If we really live the Christian faith, especially as Catholics, we stick out. We're not like everybody else. We break the mold and say, this is how God calls us to live, and so we're going to do this, and who cares if the rest of society follows? How are you doing on that? Just ask yourself how many things you're doing, you're like, I don't even know why we're doing this. I don't even like this, but everybody else is doing it, so I guess we have to. How did we lose Sunday? Why does nobody go to mass on Sunday morning, but they go to sporting events? Well, everybody else is doing it, so I guess we'll do it too. Let's take a step back and say, is God our king, or is the world our king? This is what Samuel is distressed about today. How are you doing? Who's king in your life? And deep down, do you really just want to be like everybody else? Well, stop it. You're chosen. You're special. Don't be like everybody else. You should stick out if you're a Catholic. That's what you're supposed to do. So let's start doing it. And we might just see that, well, the world might just change. And God bless you.